Hi, I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on NewsFeed today. A Brazilian politician stabbed. We look at who he is and at Brazil's far right. Hashtag love is love, a huge moment for personal freedoms in India. Is there now a new front in the fight against poaching in Botswana? And Friday's animals doing stuff for some record-breaking dogs. On top of our newsfeed, Bolsonaro. An extraordinary moment happened in Brazilian politics yesterday. A leading presidential candidate was stabbed in the stomach while out campaigning. And the stabbing was captured on camera phones, filming him and taking pictures, then uploaded immediately to social media. Now, there's no mystery about who did it. He was detained within seconds. What's less clear is what this means for October's election, what it means for support for Brazil's far right, and what it means for the man known as the Myth.
Jair Bolsonaro is a front-runner in Brazil's presidential election. On Thursday, he was stabbed during a campaign rally in the southeastern state of Minas Gerais. He underwent surgery for injuries to his stomach and is expected to recover.
Todos nós temos uma missão aqui na Terra. E essa missão será cumprida por mim, por você, Mário, ou por outra pessoa. Até o momento, Deus quis assim. E vamos levá-la adiante a todos. Que eu me preparava para um momento como esse. Porque você corre riscos.
Police said a suspect has been arrested and named him as Adílio Obispo de Oliveira. The controversial politician has outraged many in Brazil with racist and homophobic comments. But Bolsonaro has performed strongly in recent polls. Most predict he will get the most votes in next month's elections if jailed former President Lula da Silva fails in his attempt to overturn a ban on him running. Bolsonaro is followed by millions of Brazilians on social media. They call him the Myth. Many refer to him as the Brazilian Trump. His supporters see him as a defender of law and order who would crack down on crime. He wants to loosen gun control laws. Millions of evangelical Christians love his uncompromising anti-abortion stance. In 2011, he told Playboy magazine he was incapable of loving a gay son, and is being investigated for racist remarks he made about Afro-Brazilians. Few imagined he would ever be a presidential frontrunner. But the collapse of the Workers' Party government and the impeachment of President Dilma Rousseff 2 years ago has divided the electorate. If Bolsonaro becomes Brazil's new president, what will this mean for the country's politics?
Now, the far right in Brazil share the racist ideologies of far right groups the world over, but they have some uniquely Brazilian traits. Now, many of them identify strongly as Christian. There's also, they say there's no place in Brazil for Islam or African religions. Those religions account for about 3% of the national population. They're nostalgic about Brazil's military dictatorship, which was a brutal regime which ruled the country between 1964 and 1985. They're widely supported by white people who are privileged and educated. And it also crosses racial lines with some support from black people and the poor. Now, observers say it can be viewed as dividing along value lines, not strictly racial ones. Now, time to have a look at some other things on social media that caught our eye. Journalists in Myanmar have shown their support for their jailed colleagues Walon and Kwat So. This is the front page of one of the country's main newspapers. It says, a sad day for Myanmar. People have also been tweeting under the hashtag #ArrestMeToo. They're protesting the jailing of the two men who were trying to expose the Myanmar military's genocide against the Rohingya. People in Myanmar are calling for the journalists' immediate release.
Salut tout le monde, alors si vous voulez rire, j'en ai une bonne pour vous aujourd'hui. Hier, au boulot, donc à la météo, il y a une dame qui a appelé pour dire que j'étais trop noire et qu'elle ne voyait rien dans l'écran, qu'on ne voyait que mes vêtements, que je ne passais pas bien à la télé parce que j'étais trop noire.
Now, this is a Facebook video by a Belgian weather presenter called Cécile Junga. She used it to respond to the racism she's faced while doing her job. Viewers have been writing to complain that she is too black. She's been supported by her employer, the state broadcaster RTBF, and also by people on social media.
What the? Hey! Hey! What are you doing in my car? You're going the wrong way! Oh!
And people have been writing tributes to the Hollywood actor Burt Reynolds, who's died. He was 82. He starred in films like Smokey and the Bandit and Smokey and the Bandit 2 and The Boogie Nights. Now, in what's being seen as a landmark moment, the Indian Supreme Court have ruled that gay sex is not a crime. It's a victory for human rights there, and people around the world have been celebrating.
Dancing on the streets and in hotel lobbies. Members and supporters of the LGBTQ community in India hailed a decision from the Supreme Court which decriminalized homosexual sex. The ruling is being seen as a landmark moment in the struggle against discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation. Judges ruled Section 377 as a fundamental violation of rights.
This victory march is for the verdict of the Supreme Court for us. We're celebrating. We don't want to trouble anyone. These are the fundamental rights under our Constitution, which we didn't have yet and which no one wanted to give us so far. We're celebrating and expressing our joy to show how happy we are.
The reaction on social media was no different. Many people called the decision a historic win for equal rights.
A supremely important judgment. I am what I am, so take me as I am, says the Chief Justice of India as the Supreme Court decriminalizes Section 377 in a unanimous vote from the bench. What a big win as a democracy and our fight for equal rights.
But there remains a strong opposition among religious groups and conservative quarters, and even from the lawmakers in the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party.
We consider this as a genetic flaw.
The ruling repeals a 157-year-old colonial-era law. Campaigners say it was being used to harass the community. The fight for equal rights may have been long, but now it's time for love is love in India.
The demolition of a neighbourhood in the occupied West Bank has been allowed by the Israeli government. It's just the latest action causing Palestinians to be evicted from their homes.
وبالتالي نرفض هذا القرار بكل تفاصيله وكل أبعاده، وسنتصدى له إن شاء الله بدءا من اليوم بالاعتصام بالخان الأحمر دفاعا عن الخان الأحمر. The discovery of elephant carcasses in Botswana this week was symbolic of what ecologists worry will be a new trend. The animals have largely been spared poachers' bullets in the country. That could be about to change. In a warning, there are images of dead elephants in this video.
The Ethiopian Prime Minister is a man of the times. He's Africa's youngest leader, has pushed through reforms in his country that have made him immensely popular. And as you're about to see, he loves a selfie. But can it last?
Abiy Ahmed is Africa's youngest head of government. And since taking office in April, Ethiopians have been singing his praises. He lifted a state of emergency that crippled the nation and ended a 20-year war with neighboring Eritrea. But those aren't the only reasons the country is gripped by Abiy mania. On a US tour, he wore this outfit. The blazer with purple, green and gold trim is a traditional Oromo design. Abiy is Ethiopia's first leader from the country's biggest ethnic group, the Oromos, who have been marginalized both politically and economically. Abiy's father is a Muslim Oromo and his mother was a Christian. This identity has helped bridge the tensions among ethnic groups. He is fluent in Oromo, Amharic, Tigrinya, as well as English. Soon after taking office, he embarked on a nationwide tour to listen to people's problems. He hugs leaders and loves taking selfies. But are his fans ignoring their new leader's potential flaws? He has not given a media interview so far as Prime Minister, and his government appears to be blocking the internet during flashes of violence. #Abiy Mania has swept up the nation. So can Abiy Ahmed live up to the hype?
All right, around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Friday. All things being well, this will be the last time we mention the professional loudmouth and conspiracy peddler Alex Jones. He's now been permanently banned from Twitter, so that's Facebook, Apple, Spotify and YouTube. Goodbye for now, Mr. Jones, and good riddance. And just because we can, take a look at this video of the Aussie footy player Eddie Betts. He kicks the ball and lightning strikes. Pretty impressive. Now, coffee snobs like me often turn their nose up at Starbucks, and I'm from a city called Nottingham. So how will the Milanese respond to Starbucks opening there?
Italians are famous for their love of coffee, but the country's been uncharted territory for Starbucks until now. The world's most famous coffee franchise has opened its first Italian store in Milan, and it's not your average Starbucks. The green logo is nowhere to be seen, and it features an on-site roastery and cocktail bar. Some Italians don't mind the new addition. But others are saying the more expensive coffee could force other cafes to push up their prices. If yours is a Frappuccino, you'll be disappointed. Perhaps in an attempt to appeal to purists, Starbucks Milan is sticking to more traditional coffees. And instead of serving muffins and donuts, they've teamed up with a local baker. Starbucks says they respect Italy's coffee culture. But in a country where espresso rituals are sacred, that respect might not be reciprocated.
And in Friday's Animals Doing Stuff, we bring you a couple of record-breaking dogs. Well, first up, it's Feather. It apparently holds the record for the world's highest jump. This is it, jumping over a bar. And that one's called Geronimo. It's also a jump-related record. As you can see, it likes to jump rope. And Ezra's cut it to some brilliant music, so enjoy. That is all from the NewsFeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on Twitter, YouTube and Facebook. Follow, subscribe and add. See you again soon.